in the upper right, in the red. He hasn't dropped a map here. It's a Beyond or Hero. Full time, take him down. It is Solar. And the bottom left in the blue, folks. He has had an incredible run too, taking down Dark and Crater. It's time. Time for what, you may ask? Some damn good StarCraft. That's what we get to see in this series. Hopefully. I unfortunately can see a world where this is a 3-0 time or a 3-0 Solar victory. But we're gonna have to see. Because for right now, I mean, the day is young. The games are young, and I gotta say, I am such a fan of the 10 p.m. EPT at Korea start time, because you know what that means? It means Bayo goes to bed at a decent hour most of the time. Okay. Where do we think the series goes? It's not opening with a proxy. I almost expected that. But Time is a very standard player. Time is an extremely standard player. It really in the vein of a Cure, maybe, or an Innovation, where, or maybe a Hero, no, not even Hero Marine. Because Hero Marine will go and he'll do all manner of zany things, but he's got his system. Time is one of these players that will play macro a good portion of the time and will probably beat you with it. He's got his own wrinkles, of course, everyone does, but I guess as I think about it more, he's not exactly the type of player that I would expect to say 2-Rex all that often. Although, you know, as any Zerg on ladder knows, every Terran has the ability to 2-Rex because they got it deep in their bones, and it just sparks a certain type of joy that, well, only inflicting sadness upon others can properly convey. But hey, he's gonna get a Ling to start, and that's something. But Solar, in a display of confidence, only 2 sets of Lings, only 4 total Lings being made in the early game. And part of this is, of course, that they're on pretty even ping in this game, so you don't need 6 there. And also, it's just a display of his confidence in his micro, and the queens get out, but Lings get down, and that's fine. And we talked about macro games. I mean, yeah, that's what we see from Time. 3rd base on the way, and we're gonna see a Banshee go down most likely. You can go multiple ways on this one. You can go Banshee opener, you can go a Liberator opener, and I mean, sure, Banshee maybe represents a little more threat, but it's also a little more gas. So you take 6 one way, half dozen the other. Really, it's all about how you want to play and how much dead airspace there is, how good the Liberator spots are on the map. But for now, Solar's just greeding out. It's a delayed clash opening, so this means speed at 4 minutes instead of 3:30, but because Time is gone for 3cc, Hellions are just now joining the fray. By the time they show up in any significant number, speed will be done. Although, as I said, I mean, this is actually even a slower speed than normal. Normally, it's about 4 minutes. This is 4:15, so Solar got squeaked out maybe even an extra drone or 2. And really, at this point, it's Solar telling Time that, okay, I see your greed. Let me one up that. And if you can't punish me, I'm just going to do it every game in the series. Now, Time needs to prove that Solar being a little extra greedy is something that will be punished. But for now, a Viking into Banshees, and at least the Overlord will go down. But the important thing is going to see that there is, in fact, Cloak being researched. And this may trigger Cloak to get canceled, but I feel like I see less of that mind game as of late. It used to be all the time. Oh, he scouted Cloak, so he's going to cancel. Okay, isn't that cool? At this point, I think Terran players have started to realize that, you know, at a certain point, they don't care about gas anyways. So, well, you know, really, what is getting Cloak? Who cares? And really, that for the most part, we can talk about how that is. Oh, nice target fire there, Time. We can talk about how that is very much really a product of starting with 12 workers instead of 6. Your economy scales ramps a whole hell of a lot faster. Solar, very quick upgrades here. Going, oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was looking at this as if it was standard because I assumed time was. More Banshees on the way. We have one on the map. Second one joining the fray. But here's the thing. Hyperflight rotors and double gas on the natural pretty quickly. I'm sorry. You know what? I let my own preconceptions get the better of me here. Time is going mech. He's going Hyperflight Banshee mech. And I love to see it. The Queens now, they're getting good target fire on a Hellion. And no Queens will fall. But realistically, any damage on Queens is... We're back to the point where damage on Queens by itself is valuable. Because these Banshees are going to dive in. They're going to be so damn fast. So Hellions run in and get a lot of creep. And at the very least, for Solar here, Banshee speed is very slow in XA. There's a nice Ling run by, finding his way forward. 4 workers will go down, make it 7. And that's, well, that's a great way to start your game. And most of the Lings will get out anyways. So now here come the Banshees, 2 of them, and it's a very delayed timing. Solar knows that these Banshees are a possibility, but I mean, they're just gonna... Okay, they missed the shot. That should have been... that very much should have been a dead drone, but only 1 Banshee shot, so the drone stays alive, turns itself into a spore anyways, because that is needed. And now maybe... Okay, Ling's actually... I think they saw this. Maybe the Hellions are going to find something. Drop the wall, drop the wall. No Hellions die. Oh, okay. They're thinking about it. Not really going it for, though. Just drop and creep. They don't want to get trapped in. But now the Roach Warren is done, and Solar seems to have roughly figured out what's happening. Seeing all the Hellions back at home and on the map, and the triple Banshee, and realistically also how quickly these Banshees are going, does tell us something about... does tell Solar something about how this game is going to go. So the Hellions are on the map, and looks like time he is able to deny this run by for the most part. But the Hellions, they're going to find their way into the third. Banshees, though, on the other side of the map, they're trying to kill this Roach Warren, but not super successful. And again, damage is done. The Ling run by this time is cleaned up, but 12 more workers fall. And as a mech player, you don't even necessarily care about the minerals, but you do care about the gas. So losing that many workers on the third base is very much not a feel-good story, and now mutas are on the way. It's kind of cool seeing what is effectively mutiling Bane against mech. This used to be a lot more popular, but then, well, Banshees were, or Banelings were pretty heavily nerfed, but the mutas will arrive, and folks, we have no anti-air. There is literally no anti-air. The Banshees do deny a base, but the mutas, they're going to show up elsewhere, and they're just going to get right on top of the tanks. There are Thors out. Nice job there, actually, from time he got the scout. I didn't see the Thors in production. There we go. All right, that didn't work. But Roaches now, they're going to start to show up around this third base. Muta's getting value into the main as Banelings start to morph. No Baneling speed just yet. Hellbats, well, Hellbats, they die to Banes pretty quickly. So Solar has hit a really quick max out point here as there's a weird rally off to the left side. I think this was from the Banshee pressure earlier. As the Mutas, they're trying to knock down these upgrades, but Thors will arrive. But what matters is this pressure at the front. But their tanks to the high ground, Solar did not kill enough of them. And Baneling speed is not yet done. So yes, the Mutas are killing a lot of workers, but I don't think Solar kills time here. He wants to, but I don't think he's going to be able to. Not with the Banshees, not with the just, well, how defensive of a position this is, because this map is truly incredible for mech. I'm really not, I mean, I guess this is creep spread. I'm really not sure what this is. Okay, maybe it was intentional. I thought it was unintentional. We see a bunch of creep teamers go down, and there's that. This Banshee's still not dealt with. But the Mutas at this point, they're going to start to find some high impact payload Thors, and that's how they will go down. But again, pressure coming in from Solar's. He's got to run by getting ready in the third base, but main pressure here at the front. Banelings, well, they actually don't get the best connections in the vials. Somehow they dodge everything. So that's fun. Banelings now chasing down, but they will fall. And now this pressure at the front is a bit one-dimensional. I mean, Solar got what he wanted, I think. He killed more workers. Still has a couple lings on the right side. And by the way, as much as I'm talking about, oh, you know, Solar, he's not able to break his opponent. Time is consistently below 60 workers. Time supply is consistently below that 150 scary moment. And, you know, Solar's taking every base on the map, or at least taking a good majority of them. Banshee runs out of energy, but it's only one muta here, so it's not going to go down all that quickly. But as Solar starts to take the map, now his Corruptor's on the way. Roach is trying to find the... No, you don't fight into this. Solar, stop it. This is not ever going to be cost-effective, but maybe it's going to be cost-effective enough as the Banelings force the army back on the left side, but the right side is still not great. I guess he's making supply for Broodlords. Is that the copium play? But it's not a lot of money. This is actually... That fight by itself kind of puts time back into this game. Solar doesn't have a big bank to rely on. Yeah, he's mining a lot of gas and a lot of minerals, but... Solar's Remax is a little slow. And the big deal, he's not going to have this massive bank to go build a bunch of Broodlords for a game-ending push. And this Banshee is just doing so much damage. So Hellions now, they're going to try to find their way into this mineral line. But even with Blue Flame, they're not going to get anything. Spines are here. And now, folks, we see the true might of a... Oh, there we go. You say for a second we had the picture-in-picture of time, and it's like, wow, he's not doing anything. He's just clicking around his buildings. But never mind. I need to change the way that setup works, I guess. I need to update my macro. The Banshees are going to show up here, and there's no detection, so that's a bit awkward. Banelings will start to fall, but here comes the detection, and the Banshee runs away. 3-3, halfway done for time, and the question, though, is when does he take that fifth base? Now we are starting to see some extra command centers on the map. I can't believe this Banshee has 18 kills. It's got to go. He's got to kill it eventually here, but the Vipers are so slow, they can't abduct it into anything, and Banshee still gets out. Can't explain that. Solar now has pretty much taken every base on the map that is his, less one. But I feel like with how much map control he has, you would like to see him go and start to take at least maybe one of Time's bases. Really just deny a con even from him because, again, resources lost. Well, I guess it's only 4K differential. At the end of the day, by Time, he's got an opportunity now. He's going to move out on the map, at the very least to try to take this fifth base. And this fifth base is actually kind of cool. It provides a lot of positioning to Time at this point. Yeah, it's a little bit more wide open than you would like, but you can put tanks up right around right here, and that is it chokes off multiple ramps. It becomes very hard for Solar to get the aggression going that he would like. But for now, Solar, he's got a bit of a concave, but it's set up a little bit too late. Queens waddle to their doom. And is Solar going to do anything here? We're starting to hit the point where the army of Time is not one that the Zerg beats in one fell swoop. It requires multiple fights. And even then, you got to get some really good Blinding Clouds. So here come the Lings, soaking shots at the start. Blinding Clouds on top of the Thors, actually. I feel like you want to get in the tanks, but at least the Thors are starting to fall. This is going to trigger a Broodlord transition. Only 4 Thors, 3 Thors actually, will remain. The Banshee's still alive. 94 more Lings on the way. And Solar remaxes, but so too does Time. And we saw, wait, what was that? Okay, Broodlord gets canceled. I saw one Broodlord on the way, but I'm like, I don't where'd this go? I don't see this. Time getting, or Solar, excuse me, getting ready for another bit of pressure. And it's funny, we look at these games a lot, it's like, wow, he's just not doing anything. But then you find the one fight and the supply gets reset. Is this going to be that fight? I don't think so. The choke is mighty fine, but the tanks are starting to fall. Ravagers, well, the Thors are here and the tanks knock down everything on the back line. So it's absolutely not going to be the fight that I was talking about. Not at all, in fact. Oh, that's what I wanted. There we go. I feel like Solar needs to transition, but Mass Broodlord doesn't feel incredible. At least for Solar, his opponent is not on Ghost Tech just yet, so at least the Vipers are somewhat powerful. But Hellbat Thor, folks, it's terrifying. And this concave that Time is setting up on the map at this point is doesn't feel great. Actually, it feels pretty awful. And by the way, I do apologize for the stutter. That is just my connection to Korea being a little annoying right now. But maybe this is an opportunity. But Solar, he doesn't want to trigger the fight too early. Biles will land, but not kill anything. Solar's got a big army on the left side. That's actually a run by. We'll take a look at that one. Is anything happening in the front? No, not really. So we actually don't need the picture-in-picture. My bad. And that is going to be a dead planetary. So Time will lose a base, but it's a base he's been mining out for quite a while. And he's got a planetary right there, so he can start mining out of it even still. And the army moves forward. Time not even rebuilding his SCV count, just building more tanks, building more army. In fact, he's even getting air upgrades, because why the hell not? Liberators are powerful units, but okay. There we go. Time pressuring the front, big Ling run by. Actually, it kills the natural. That's not what you want to see here. So now Solar, he's put his opponent into a bit of an all-in situation, right? The economy of Time is horrible. But can he beat the army? That is the really big question. Tons of Thors, tons of tanks coming in from two different angles. So yeah, Time will continue to lose bases, but Solar needs to be able to win one fight. I don't know that he's going to be afforded the time to win multiples. The Thors move forward. Banelings come crashing into them, and that's not really all that relevant. Those blinding clouds are in fact fantastic. And the Biles land true as well. So Time's army supply, it's still up 30, but he doesn't really have any way to reinforce. He really only has this one mining base in the bottom left. He only has this one base remaining. The Lings have killed everything else. So the economy, almost non-existent for Time. I mean, he's got mules, but that really is just about it. Solar starting to lose some level of his production. Just a little bit. And Time, actually, the crazy thing, Time does have more of a bank, despite his economy being, well, very much in the dumps. Drops a scan on the left side, realizing that Solar really has so many bases that it's going to take him a while to kill things, so he's got to go through the jugular. He's got to go for the tech. He's got to start to knock down. Well, he has knocked down the Roach Warren. Oh, no, he hasn't. The Roach Warren is still there. I'm sorry. Solar's just building another one on the understanding that this really is a base trade. Hellbats, though, starting to kill more and more workers. So Solar, his economy is not doing all that hot either. Roach Warren will fall. We're going to see the Spire go down. No Brood Lords as an opportunity, and that might have been a win condition if the Thors were able to go down. Now Roach's Ravagers finding their way on the low ground. Parasitic bombs are nice, but the Medivacs, they're really not a lot of Hellbats anymore. So the Medivacs, they're scouting tools more than anything else. The Roaches, the Ravagers, they move forward, and I'm not convinced Solar wins this fight. He does not have Vipers in it, but the Thors are starting to fall, and that means the Vipers, they stay alive just a little bit better. And this Hellbat cleaned out the entire mineral line. Solar, he's got a lot of bases, but he's not really mining all that much drones in the firing line of tanks. Some more will fall. And the fact that Time has turned this into a game that's even close is pretty damn impressive. Mita will finally deal with this Hellbat, but Time hasn't even spent his entire bank. Really, he's got 4 Thors on the way, and a tank, and Hellions. He's actually able to remax in a way that Solar is rather struggling to do for the most part. Time taking another base in the bottom right side with really the last of his mineral bank. He's got some more, but not nearly as powerful as it was. And this Ling, oh, these Ling run bys. Oh, there's actually such a problem here. The SCVs, you can't afford to lose some time. You're only on 39, but his entire army's at the front. He's knocking down more bases, sure, but I feel like losing this base opportunity is even more powerful. Time, you gotta lift this base. Time, you cannot lose this command center. This is the problem. No. You can lift it, but he won't. And yes, he kills a base, but now Solar feels a little more unlocked on the map. He knows where Time's army is on the bottom right, and Time is so immobile here. As Solar gets this last mining base, that really will put the kibosh on things. Can he make this happen? Hellbats are going to move forward. Thor's on the right side. Tank siege up, and that's a dead Viper. That's actually such a big deal, but the tank is not sieged, and this army, so much DPS in it if it's able to get on top. If it can run through the meat grinder. And Time's army is not here to meet it. Not just yet. He's got... Okay, that's actually not the army, but that's a bunch of tanks here. Yeah, no. That's not a fight you take. But that will be a dead tank at the end of the day. So let's take stock of things, shall we? We have this base that is almost dead in the upper left that one muta is defending. We have a base that is only 5 mineral patches on it. We have a base that is only 4 mineral patches on it, and soon to be 3, soon to be 2. Solar mining off of one base that is very vulnerable. Time, kind of the same. Worker counts, pretty equivalent. Army supply, pretty equivalent. And you gotta figure this favors the Terran. Or it favors the meching player at the end of the day. Now, granted, if Solar's able to recover his economy, that's a different story. But for right now, this army is so cost effective. And by the way, I love the addition of Magfield. This army is just Roaches and Ravagers now. Units that are able to be mobile and kill a bunch of Roaches is very valuable. Intensely valuable here as Time now has a pretty fantastic concave. The tanks will siege their way on up. And now the question, can the Roaches, can the Ravagers catch part of this army off guard? Biles are going to continue to land, and Solar continues to exact a bit of a tax for existing on the map right now, as now Solar will... Oh, there's the blinding clouds. That may just do it here, but the tanks, they're still firing from behind. And it's still not enough. But Solar is taking these fights so patiently, buying so much time, waiting for Vipers to have more energy. But there we go, 5 Cyclones at a time. This is going to really turn the composition around. Liberators as well, and yeah, sure, you can drop... Oh, okay, that's an Abduct. The Horror will fall, but still, that's a dead Viper. And the Liberators, yeah, sure, you can bile them down, but if they deny space with Cyclones as well, that's going to be really hard. Solar, again, his economy is just a little bit better. Good concaves here. Blinding Clouds getting added in. Once again, Cyclones looking for the lock-on, but they're starting to fall down just a little bit. Has Solar done it here? Has he broken through? Blinding Clouds, they're now going to wear off. The tanks are going to start wailing away at just about everything but the Vipers. They're gone. The Roaches, the Ravagers, they're fighting what they can. The tank count is starting to go down, and Solar has done it in 22 minutes. What a hell of a game. It looked like Time was doing it for quite a while, but at the end of all things, Solar, he clutches it out. And he takes a 1-0 lead. On the bottom left, folks, in the red, he took game 1, but fell down to the turtle in the second. It's Solar. His opponent in the upper right, looking honestly pretty terrifying in this series thus far. It's Time. So, where do we think this game goes? Is it gonna be... if Time has his druthers, I think he tries to turtle it out once again. I don't know exactly how that is going to work. Data C is a map that, paradoxically, is simultaneously better for Turtle. I mean, look at this choke on the 4th, the choke on the 3rd. But on the flip side, there are so many bases that the Zerg can take the map and can go full caveman Zerg. And as you start to take more bases, yeah, you can get 4 for 4 easily, but 5, 6, 7, a lot harder. And then we can truly see the caveman Zerg that we do see Solar playing so often really start to go forward. Just masses of Ling's base actually able to get through the walls. But I mean, it's kind of... Talking about that last game is hard. Because on the one hand, that was a tremendous display of skill from Time. Surviving the waves of aggression from a Zerg like Solar is not easy. On the other hand, it is not all that fun to play. It's, hey, Ling will go down. Like, it's just not all that fun to watch. It's like, wow, you know, the Terran just turtled and advanced their siege line forward. And eventually, the Zerg could not take enough bases and they died. Like, super technical, really cool game, but, you know, it's not why we watch StarCraft. At least not why. I don't know. You all may watch StarCraft. You crazy folk that also enjoy some TVT. How can I say that with how good Cure versus Beyond was recently? And it is on it is public now on YouTube. So I can't even cast aspersions on TVT at the moment because we've had some incredible ones as of late. Beyond and Maru, and we get that in GSL Super Tournament on Tuesday. That's going to be a lot of fun. We had it in Atlanta as well, and it's funny. When I was in the crowd, I was talking to a couple people, and I stand by what I said because they were saying, Maru's just going to smash this. And the way I talk about Beyond Maru in TVT is, yeah, it's going to be a really close fought series that Maru's going to 2-0. And that's what happens, is this really tightly contested games that Maru squeaks out, but he doesn't lose them. Look at this, though. Time! Understanding just how powerful his mech is, and this is... It's a good mech map. It's not the best mech map, but it's good. And Time's going to bust it out once again, it looks like, as we do, of course, now have... Well, it's going to be Battlecruiser play. That's going to be just a little bit of fun. Fusion Core just about done. And you get the safety Banshee, but he's not going to need it. Solar is, of course, just going for greedy boy, as greedy as he can be. He does have, of course, link speed. That's done. But more and more queens, more and more things like that. And wait a minute. Did the Overlord got in, and there really was not a lot of anti-air, but it didn't see anything. Like it doesn't see it doesn't see a gas in the natural. It doesn't see the Fusion Core. Doesn't really know what's happening. And he's going to scale back into the main base once again, but that's why you put the Fusion Core in the natural. So nice job here from Time. The only thing that Solar has seen is the fact that there is a third orbital, which, I mean, it's data seed. This should not surprise anyone. But seeing that gas in the net, I mean, honestly, yeah, okay, it's still on 2 bases. Getting 4 gas is a little bit weird. And eventually we should see the battle, or the Overlord should fall. And the Battlecruiser kills it, and that should be the scout at the end of the day. Actually, no, there's a Marine, so never mind. It's not going to be a full scout. I guess the only scout really is that, wow, that starport has been building units for a while now. So, first Battlecruiser is done. Yamato is just about complete as well, as now Hellions trying to dive into the third base, and let's see how much damage they're going to be able to find. Battlecruiser actually on top of things too, and this may mean a bunch of queens fall. One queen goes down immediately, and it's a lot of math. There is a very specific number of queens that you want to kill Battlecruiser. It's 7. Start to fall below that number, and life becomes a little bit more complicated. But for now, even as one queen does fall, it's not going to be too much damage for Time just yet. But Yamato is done pretty soon. And it looks like a bit of a Ling run by on through the natural base, and that's going to be a dead Hellion. Lings, though, they're not going to be able to get in, and that means run away, the beams of fire. Very scary. And the Battlecruiser will be found out on the left side flank. So at the very least, Solar knows the play on this Battlecruiser. He's going to run in to get as much damage as possible, teleport out. Not the other way around. Not the Battlecruiser reveal. But where is our second one? There it is, floating across the map here. And yes, this does force a specific style of play coming in from Solar. You got to get a Spire. You got to get those Corruptors. Or sometimes you see Mutas actually on the understanding that Battlecruisers really don't kill Mutas all that quickly, and they are much faster. So you get Mutas on this understanding that there's just not a lot of anti-air, and you say the queens will handle the rest of it. It's fine. Just pump constant queens, and that's good. But considering Solar has taken very little damage from this pressure, and he's going to see that there's a 4th base on the way, I wonder if we're just going to see him go and overbuild Corruptors and just go for a big Roachling Bane Corruptor type of timing. But for now, the Battlecruisers will arrive. That's 2 dead queens. There's really just no stopping it. And the Battlecruisers, as they find their way into the main base, not a lot of defense here, but the Spire is done. And this is, yeah, there we go. Okay, 6 Corruptors. I don't think this should really surprise anyone all that much. Battle cruisers are going to show on up here, get as much damage as they can. Force transfuses, gotta save that queen. There we go. And actually, Time is doing a great job of splitting the damage on the battle cruisers. So they're going to hang around just a little bit longer, getting damage on the Spire, but they're not going to kill it. As the Corruptors arrive, well, this really will force the battle cruisers out. So while they're being a bit obnoxious, there we go. Teleport right back on home. And the game goes on. And the powerful play goes on, folks. And you're contributing a verse. And the interesting thing I think that we're seeing in this game is it's immediate Thor. It's immediate Thors coming in from Solar. Or from Time, excuse me. No, not a lot of tanks. In fact, he's got 3 tanks, but he's going Widow Mines. I guess that's for the heavy Ling pressure. This is kind of cool. Thor is for the Corruptors to make sure the battle cruisers stay alive. Ling's actually get a really nice surround here with their 1-1. They're going to get on top of a lot of these Hellions and knock them down. Upgrade's not done for the Hellions just yet, so they're not really surviving all that quickly. And is this going to be enough for Solar to break his opponent? I don't think so. Generally, the number you're looking at is the Hellions will fall. And okay, Thor's decent damage on the Corruptors to start. Generally, the number you're looking at is 150 supply. Whether pushes like this are able to break the Terran. So for now, Solar, he does have his hive on the way. Good. We saw the hive happen far too late, it felt like, in that previous game. But I think Solar is understood that this game is going to go decently late. Very hard to break a Terran on 4 bases here, so 5th base now on the way for Solar. A little late, to be totally honest. You want to be 1 operational base up on the Terran, and that's not really happening right now. It's good enough, though. I mean, 87 workers. His economy is developing apace rather nicely. The Hellbats will find the extra base the Solar is trying to take, and this one will get knocked down. But ooh, Corruptors are going to find the battle cruiser, and Time is going to lose 1. Okay, that's not what you want there. It's rather expensive indeed. Yamato's go down. Second battle cruiser. Ooh, barely gets out. It looks like the Hellbats did knock down that extra base of Solar. And I'm sorry, I thought this base was getting ready, but no, it is operational. So never mind. Solar's economy rather nice. Hive is now done. Solar, though, he's maxed out, so no Vipers. No, not just yet. And plenty of Banes. But I really don't know. I mean, Hellbats are actually really, yeah, it's for the Hellbats. But, well, we do have only 5 Hellbats, actually. Only 5 Hellions. So Baneling's not really worth a lot at the moment, but good enough, as Blue Flame will shred a lot of these Lings as they go for the full surround, so the Hellions will fall. Not really much saving them, but +2 melees is pretty powerful. So now the harassment on the map has been dealt with for the most part. Is there anything Solar can do? He did trade away some supply that gives him access to Vipers. That's nice. Broodlords as well, and Solar's not been trading nearly as much as he did in game number 1, which does now mean that he can go and, well, it does mean that he can get into Broodlords and actually have a big Broodlord swell. If you can get yourself up into about like 30 broods on this map, you can really take advantage of the dead airspace in a rather nice way where you can start to shell away from the cliffs. We're going to have to see how this is going to work out because now Time is starting to take positions on the map, and this army's terrifying. I don't know, maybe it's my Zerg bias of having to, you know, play mech on ladder and just feeling very sad, but you always look at these armies and you're like, how in the world do you beat this? Especially now that, unlike game number 1, Time feels safe enough, and again, he also feels like he has not traded all that much, so he feels safe enough. He's going into Ghosts. We have Ghost Academy down, personal cloaking on the way, +1 armor on the way for these Ghosts, so they will, you don't need attack upgrades. It's nice, but it's not the most important thing when you get Ghosts. It's just you want to keep them alive, you want snipes, you want EMPs. You want to shut down a lot of the spellcasting from Solar. Hellions looking for a bit of a run by with Lings here, though, and Spines. It's not really going to get that much done. Hellbats morph, and that just gives Lings more time to kill them. So Hellbats really don't get that much done. Is now, here we go. Fight in earnest. First one, really, of this game, and it's not going to work out all that well. Now Solar's going to try to get a fight here, running forward. Can he make it happen? Blinding Clouds are nice, But again, Stego snipes everything else. He can't even kill the tank he blinding clouded. That doesn't feel good. But at the very least, we are starting to see Infestor upgrades now. He really is rounding out his tech tree. Armor, attack upgrades. Only single Spire, though. You would like to see probably double Spire upgrades. At this point, just considering how much of the map that Solar has, how much money he's going to be able to mine. Although realistically, when you're talking about Brood Lords, it's the melee upgrades that really, well, no, as I say that, it's generally it's the melee upgrades, but with the amount of Hellbats that exist, +3 Hellbats with Blue Flame, they do one shot. As we will see this stack defense start to go down a little bit, they do one shot. Broodlings, they do one shot lings, so it's really about the impact damage at that point, which does mean that, well, flyer attack is rather important indeed. But for now, I mean, Solar's he's taking the map. He's on 86 workers. Honestly, I feel like I'd like to see somewhere north of 90 just with how passive this game is. But for now, he's on 88, 86, 88 workers, building a couple more spines, and he's getting this mining delayed, denied just a little bit, but his army's here, so that's really not that big of a deal. I do want to start to see Solar's or composition start to swing around a little bit. As please die. That Hellbat needs to die. But if we look at the value of Solar's army right now, it's half the gas of Times. And that's with a ton of Banes. It's Roach Ravager, Ling Bane. It's a mid-game army. It's a ground-pounding army. If you can get the right Blinding Clouds, it's a decent army. But the technicality of it, when we're talking about this late-game 3-3 Ghost Mech army, is not exactly cutting it. And Time now is starting to take bases that he does own. He's got the upper left. He's going to probably take the Rich Gas base soon. And we've seen honestly, almost 3 games in a row now where it's just a Solar that is trying to find cracks in Time's armor, and Time is just not. Time doesn't seem to have cracks. His positioning is so good. His buildup is so good. He knows exactly when he needs to expand, how far he can expand. And he just doesn't let it happen. And now, okay, it's a minor mistake. Enhanced shockwaves are just a little bit late. Solar thinks about taking a fight, but the tanks are always sieged. The Balings can never go forward. And now 3-3 is done for the mech army. +2 at armor on the Ghost, so they're going to die even slower. And we're just seeing Time slowly take bases. He's going to start to take this low ground base now, and then, well, the only contested base, the only base that Solar can take that is technically Time's, will be the middle right. And I don't even know how that's going to work. He's denied, Time has denied a decent amount of mining from the middle left. So if he can mine out half of that, mine out half of this, he's going to be fine. This bank is growing pretty much at the same rate that Solar's is. So as this game is very much a slow burn, we ask ourselves, who blinks first? Who loses patience? So for now, the Corruptors, they're even peeing on the building. They want those rocks down. They want to have a Solar wants a bigger attack vector to be able to move in. As we will see Yamato's go down, kill off a couple Corruptors, and they will be replaced immediately. Battlecruisers teleport back home. Battlecruisers doing that kind of remind me of, you know, your brother, your sibling growing up, who learns that technically no one's ever touching anyone. There's like a atom-wide gap, so they start touching. He's like, I'm not touching you. That's kind of what the Corruptors or the Battlecruisers do. But here's the fight going forward. EMPs actually they win for the most part. So nice blinding clouds, knocking down a bunch of these tanks. And for the first time in quite a while, Solar takes what can be considered a decent fight, but he loses a lot of this army. So even still, not super great. And as he did kill a couple tanks, there's still more where that came from. So now Time starting to dislodge Solar's position on the left side. Thors with +3, +3 Thors, by the way, folks. I know I say this a lot. They do more DPS than Dark Templar do. And they do so much damage to structures. So that's a dead base. Where I think we might even see Time take that pretty soon. So Solar does expand right side, which is what I've kind of been wanting to see him do for a while. But this is something Time has an immediate scout over. And it means he has to decide how he wants to deal with this. Does he just decide to lock down hard the left side? Or does he send something over? Does he start to harass the right side too? We're going to have to find out. For now, the Corruptors joining the fray once again. I think a lot of corruptors went down that last fight. How many do we have? Yeah. Okay, 8 broodlords, 8 corruptors, and 1 battle cruiser is dead. So at the very least, there's that. The burrowedlings are a bit annoying. But time is starting to move to the next round of his tech, as if that was even possible. He's been on late game tech for quite a while, but he's got Liberator range on the way, and as important, he's got +1 air attack. So he's going to be able to get Vikings if he wants. Probably not, to be totally honest here. You would expect him. Vikings against Vipers are just not great against Infestors, as well as this pressure coming in from Solar is kind of nice. We're starting to hit the point where the Zerg can start to get damage done. Get into mineral lines, which in fairness are not nearly as important as they once were. Only 4 mineral patches, not all that much. And the Ghost Snipes will go down. That's a couple dead Ravagers, but it's hard now. We're getting to the point where time, yeah, he defended 4, 5, 6 bases properly, but as he moves up to 7, 8, 9, can he defend every angle? I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, we're starting to see that heavy broodlord count that can start to fight this. It's not easy. We are looking at that heavy broodlord count that can start to fight against this ghost mech late game style that time seems to be such a fan of. 8 Thors, 12 ghosts. Honestly lacking in the Hellbats, but he hasn't really seen that broodlords are out on the map just yet, so we can forgive him for that. And Hellbats build fast, so that's not even necessarily as much of a thing, as the army now of time is going to shift right side. Battlecruiser kills off another corruptor, teleports back, teleports onto the right side where this base will fall. I don't think there's much saving it, because while this army from Solar has moved in, it's much more expensive now than it was. Like 3,000 gas more expensive. It's slow as absolute molasses. At the very least, though, this base will lose a couple SCVs. I don't know that time really cares at this point. He's got a lot of money. And more importantly, he's got plentiful mules. So these Thors on the right side, honestly, I don't know how I feel about... I'm not saying he's sacrificing the Thors, but he is... I mean, he's sacrificing one of them. With the broodlord count the way it is.
Assimilation successful.
And now Ghost getting... there's no detection here! Oh no, the broodlords, they're all falling down. They're falling down so hard. The Ghosts run forward. Now there are... Sure. Now there are some spores, but that was 11 broods going down to the blink of an eye. Solar's gonna have to spend a lot of his bank to replenish this. We see more corruptors on the way, but that broodlord count, it was like 16. Now it's 5. Time has a lot of room on the map. Now the tank will go down. The Ghosts snipe down the rest of the Ravagers. Right side, time is kind of funny. By putting pressure on the right side, he's kind of denying any sort of aggression on the left, because at this point, again, the army is so slow that Solar has a choice about whether he's going to defend or whether he's going to attack. And time's positioning is actually proving to be rather nice indeed. Y'all think this bank is good? You all should have seen the bank between Scarlet and Gung Fu Band. I think it was like 26k. No, it's 22k, 10k versus like 22k. It was ridiculous. I forget what the number was, but just the biggest bank I've ever seen. As the battlecruiser will show up, and at this point, it feels like time is kind of giving this away. It's not super useful anymore, and the base will stay alive. So hey, nice job there, Solar. And finally, you know, I was talking about how I wanted to see double spire for upgrades. Well, the game is going long enough that Solar's getting 3-3 in the air, or 3-3 air upgrades off single spire. But Solar just had to spend a lot of money to replenish his broodlord count. That was tremendously expensive. As now here comes the army moving forward, but at least the spores, for the most part, have been able to move forward to the point where the Ghosts don't have that free snipe potential that we saw earlier on. And hey, Ling run by finds his way to the right side, and I don't know how much it's going to get done. Doesn't really. It denies... What is this, a factory? It denies another Ghost. Yeah, okay, so that's kind of fun. Denies the Ghost Academy, which is interesting because we're now going to start to see nukes on the field. And folks, I don't think I need to tell you the story of Solar and nukes. We're even getting Infernal Preignite. Oh, what is... I always forget what the late game medevac upgrade's called because I just never see it. But anyways, it does make medevacs zoom faster and then they boost longer. So that can be useful, kind of. I feel like we see it upgraded, then I never see the impact of it. But now we're going to start to see some nukes going down. Their goal is to knock. Okay, solar. Okay, solar. 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 No, solar! No! That's not, no. If I had a nickel for every time I saw solar lose a good majority of his army to a nuke, I'd have 3 nickels. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but it's crazy that it's happened that often. He loses, not as much as he could have, but that's still 11 broods, 3 vipers. I thought he was going to lose the infestors too, but yeah, that is a lot. Solar's having to spend a lot of his bank to replenish at this point. He's losing bases too. He's losing money. I'm not saying that is the game losing mistake, not just yet, but resources lost. My God, 42k to 17k. Yeah. And Solar's really tapping deep into his gas can now. He's lost the rich gas base. He's building 8 more broodlords, going up to 22. But he's really struggling to replenish at this point. It's funny I say that as that we're looking at a player that's at 4.5k, 1.5k, but I mean that's not even a full army anymore. As Changeling's coming from the right side, they will maybe get targeted down. Apparently not. That does mean the broodlords can fight a little bit easier. Raven, random Raven. That's actually kind of cool. Corvid reactor is on the way. But for right now, we're going to see the fight kicking off in earnest. Blinding Cloud not really hitting anything. Second one's going to be a little bit better, as now the Thors do have to run away, and that is so many broodlings. That will be a couple dead Thors, but they retreat backwards. They hide thee back from whence they came, and now the Blinding Clouds, well, they're not as powerful as they once were. You can just run away from them. Medivacs, they boost up, they keep the Thors alive, and now here comes the army forward once again. Do we have Neurals? Do we have... Well, okay, snipes go down. I don't see any Vipers in this army, though. It's not really what you want. The Broodlings, they do get good shots off. At least that does force time to tip into his bank just a little bit. Oh God, sometimes casting on a 2-minute delay is a lot of fun because you just get to see chat lose their minds after something happens. Legs, now they're going to find a nice run by on the rich gas base, but there's not a lot of money there anymore, as now time is going to take this base that Solar has not mined a ton from, as he swings his focus from the left side to the right side, and well, that planetary is not going to get much done. In fact, the spores are shelling away at it. It's funny how powerful Hellbats can be in the late game. Like, realistically, you look at Hellbats, you're like, wow, it's never going to kill a base. And then it kills a base. Time after time after time. You're like, what the hell? Solar's out of gas. He's not mining all that much of it. I mean, in fairness, neither is Time, but he's got 5k. I don't think he cares all that much. Solar is very much out of gas. This army that he's made is... He can flood Lings out at this point, but... He does not have the ability to remake an army of this complexity. Now the ghosts run forward. Liberators, really, they siege up. They're just denying they're denying the infestors as much as they can. These Blinding Clouds, though, are really nice, forcing the Thors back just a little bit, and not a lot of Hellbats. Here come the Lings. Here come the infestors, but they're scanned out, and the EMPs are going to be really nice indeed. 2 Thors now. They are the only ones that get knurled, and the Thors, they're not even targeted down. Time, though, is he going to win this fight? Yeah, I think he does. Knurls have now timed out, and the Broodlords are still here. A 40 army supply lead. Time takes a 2-1 lead, and that nuke broke his back. Solar now down to 1. Can Time make it 3? In the upper right, in the red, down a game because nukes and Solar, they don't mix. It's Solar. His opponent turtling and nuking his way to victory. It is Time. For every game, there is a season and a time on David Kim's Green Earth. And yeah, as a reminder, Solar had not dropped a single map before game 2 of this series. So, yeah, the flawless run no longer. He's going to have to take down time in what I can only assume will be 2 rather long games. Because time just seems to enjoy inflicting pain upon Zergs by turtling the hell out of games. Yeah, Solar is currently screaming out the window after that last game. His restroom break. He took a break between games 3 and 4. Was not necessarily a restroom break. His break was actually he just had to go scream out the window, express his rage and frustration at the world. So, big difference here. It's not quite as quick of a third CC game from time as it was in the previous. He didn't go barracks double third, like the 220 3cc play that he's actually been leaning into pretty significantly in this series. At the very least, it's going to be a factory expand, not a barracks type of setup. And there we go. Okay. Third base on the way. You can't quite get away with as greedy of a third base as Time was doing on Tropical Sacrifice on Data C, because hey, inside and out, super short. Roach rushes can kill you if you don't get that factory up, you don't get that tech lab ready for cyclones or something like that. So the question now is what twist does Time have on this game? You know, we saw Hyperflight Rotors game 1 didn't work out super well. Game 2, we saw Turtle Bio Terran that would make Maru cry, or at least bring a tear to his eye. And game 3, we saw the BC opening into mech once again. So really, we're keeping an eye on the gas at the natural. Wait, is that a third gas already? Yeah, okay. There's the fusion core. Yeah, it's gonna be mech. It's gonna be battle cruisers, most likely. It's not gonna be Liberator range. That's not a thing. That's not a build, but it will be battle cruisers once again. So folks, strap in, take your seatbelts, put them squarely across your chest, or if you have a racing seatbelt, make sure to buckle at every point on your 6-point harness, because this game may go a wee bit longer. Although as I say that, there is a Roach Warren on the way. It's a 42 drone Roach Warren, so it's not a massive bit of pressure. But if we see Time try to cut some corners, skip that Banshee, or cancel it too early, Roaches running across the map can kill a player doing this. But it seems like this is just defensive Roaches. Unfortunate for Solar, because there was no Banshee on the production tab. Okay, well, a couple of Roaches are going to get made, but anyway, no Banshee was made on the production tab. There we go. There's going to be no scout on what is happening. The Ling is not even... Oh, he lets him in. And he's not going to see much of anything. But that's actually a rather canny play if you think about it. Because what that means is the Ling is going to, by default, it's going to run into the main base. It's not going to check the gases at the natural. So Solar, I want to say, is still in the dark as to how many... Yeah, he has not been able to check the gases at the natural. He doesn't know what is happening. He just knows it's 3cc play. And that is rather problematic. Roaches are on the map, but they're just pushing Hellions back. Oh, that's actually a really nice grenade. One Roach will fall, and you trade a Hellion for a Roach. Yeah, sure, fine. Hellions actually get some really nice shots on these Roaches. In fact, it's going to force a transfuse out of the Queen. But anyway, factories are on the way. Big deal, though. The difference in this game, it's single battle cruiser, no Yamada. It's still mech, but it is less committed to the sky, more on the ground. And again, this is just very much a marker of what the map is. Inside and out is rather short. You can't get away with these greedier mech styles, as a couple workers will go down, but not all that much. Here's the question, though. Hellions diving into the third base. Will this get the damage that he's looking for? Ooh, they line up just a little bit. Oh, okay, there's the lineup. 7 workers go down. Hellions, though, can they get out? Lings are looking for that surround, and they will find it for the most part, but it's still nice micro there on the Hellions. Meanwhile, Roaches in the third base, randomly, 6 of them. Why not? But there's not much defense at home. The tanks are not here just yet, so it's going to be just as many dead SCVs as it was dead drones, and honestly, that favors the Zerg. Realistically, actually, it's going to be even more than that. Again, that favors the Zerg. They are much more okay with losing a couple workers, as again, they have larvae, they can make something happen. And roaches find their way into the natural. That's somewhat unexpected. Some more workers are continuing to fall. Their fourth base will be delayed just briefly, and well, this is starting to... It's the best start that Solar's had in a game. And it seems like he knows it too. So we have Corruptors on the way to deal with the single battle cruiser. He's overbuilding them. And yeah, Roach Warren is just, or Roach Speed is just about done. I talked about this idea in game 1, and Solar tried to go for it, didn't quite work out for him. But you can go and you overbuild Corruptors. And then you build a bunch of Roaches, Lings, and maybe some Banes on the ground. And you run across the map with about 160, 170 supplies. The Terran's barely cusping above 130. And you just break their bases down. So let's see if that's what's going to happen here. We already have Thors on the way to defend the Corruptors, but it's only single battlecruiser. Honestly, you're okay with the Corruptors existing. That's a lot of supply on the ground. Yeah, Time is really committing to make sure these Corruptors don't get all that much. Maybe he's afraid. I mean, Mutas did put him very much in the dirt in game 1, so maybe that's... No, I'm sorry. I'm misremembering. But the Corruptors, oh, they're going to get on top of these. They're going to get on top of the factories. SCVs have to get pulled to make sure the factories stay alive. Corruptors, I mean, it's only 2 of them, so the battlecruiser can find value. And the Thors, now they pop out. High impact payload, please. And the Corruptors will start to fall, but that's a dead factory. So nice job there from Solar. This is a much better game from him than it is game number 1. And now, again, there's the go. 170 supply to 140 of the Terran. But this is a turtled up position. I don't know that this is going to work. Luckily, Zerg is going the right side, trying to break into the natural. There is not nearly as much defense in the natural as there is in the third base. Lings find their way in. Wall goes up for the Roaches and the Ravagers, but the Lings, they are in the main base, and that is going to be a dead fourth base, folks. Battlecruiser on the low ground, trying to get on top of this. Lings getting a little bit more value, and this game's just a lot sloppier for Time, to be totally honest. But it is also a much better game for Solar by the same metric. We're going to see this. Yeah, this is just dead. There's no repair on this orbital, so there's going to be repair, but can it fly down in time? Corruptors trying to get their shots off, and it's going to go down to the last second. The repair is canceled, and now it's a 2-base Zerg, or 2-base Terran versus a 4-base Zerg. Maxed out. Nearly the battlecruiser will fall, and now the Corruptors, their job is just to kill buildings. They don't care about anything else anymore. Come off cooldown, kill factories. Rocks are falling, and Time is, well, insanely far behind. And we will see Corruptors start to hit the deck as the army finds its way into the front. But again, this is the one spot that Solar doesn't want to attack into. That's the one position that he will very much struggle, at the very least, without a bunch of Ravagers knocking down all the structures first. Because I think we're going to see Biles starting to kill. Actually, he's going to get a couple of rich supply depots too. So Time will find himself supply blocked, and he's going to find himself supply blocked pretty damn hard as the Ravagers, they start to move forward. Biles on the tanks now because they can do that. Corruptors just providing vision at this point. A lot of tanks are falling, but 3 tanks, they still remain. And Time, you know, he's out of bases, but his replacements are just about done, at least in the natural, and he is on 77 workers. So while technically this is a big income lead for Solar, and it is, it's not quite as big as we would expect. It's only a 4-base Zerg. He's getting his 5th base now. I'm not trying to build Terran Hopium, or even Terran Copium, and I don't know, who knows, maybe it's just my Zerg brain that doesn't enjoy playing its mech all that much. But Time, with how cost ineffective those previous bits of pressure were, feels like he might be finding his way back in this game just a little bit. With Thor will fall. Tanks, though, I mean, they're doing so much damage here. The multiple lines of tanks of the Roaches, they try to find their way on in, and this is 1-1 tanks. They don't die as quickly, and they kill a little bit faster. So the fact that Time is, despite everything, still staying somewhat in range of 150 supply is pretty doggone impressive. Now, problem, he doesn't have +2 mech attack on the way. He does have armor. It's nice, keeps the army alive, but if you're given the choice as a mech player between attack and armor, you take attack every time. So here comes the army once again. Tanks sieged up. The Thors have to run backwards. And Hellbats, they're just buffering for things just a little bit. The Roaches, again, they join the fray, but they got one tank, I think, in that fight. Yeah, they got one tank. It's starting to become very cost ineffective here for Solar, but he does have a greater Spire on the way. So at least you have that one going for you. And while there is a fourth base on the way for time, the Thors, they only have +1. +2 is a far ways off, so it's not going to be this easy Broodlord cleanup that you sometimes find. And certainly now as Time's trying to take this fourth base, he just has one more vector to attack into, or to defend, I guess, is now Roaches, Ravagers going to get on top of these tanks. They're dead. And there's much less SimCity. So SCVs repair, and that's going to keep the planet or the orbital alive, but it lifts up anyways to make sure it does stay alive. And that's a bunch of dead SCVs. Biles will not land, though, all that well. But this is really all about buying space. And it's only three Thors. Yeah, sure, they kill Broodlords pretty nicely. Still only 3 Thors. And we're gonna see about 6 more Broodlords on the way. I think he's just, yeah, Solar's just gonna fill a supply cap with it. Get another one, why not? Once he has the money for it. There we go. 8 broods on the way. And I don't know that there are enough Thors to really take this fight. Certainly not with Roaches and Ravagers sitting in front, distracting them, soaking up their shots. So Broodlord's just about done. 5 more on the way as Solar trades away a little bit more of his supply. And 3 Thors versus, what is that, 13 broods? 11 broods? Yeah, against 11 broods, I mean, that's just not enough. But the scan does go down, and that does mean that Time can start to change his army composition around just a little bit, start to get those Thors out, start to have some answer. But this pressure from Solar, this push is going to be the most powerful push he has in this game, as now the Broodlords are moving forward. Queens are actually off creep, so the transfuses are not incredible. Queen's starting to go down, and you know what? Time is starting to really crunch through here. 2 Thors are still alive, but the Broodlord count is honestly just too damn strong. Thors are good, and the army on the ground does fall, but it's only 1 Thor, and soon it will be 0 Thors. No, the repair is nice. And the Broodlord count, only 3 of them went down. I don't know that Time is going to have the time to build an army that he needs, but still, more Broodlords are joining the fray here. But Solar, he does have a bank behind this. He can now pump a bunch of Lings, a bunch of ground units to deal with the Thor count. The tanks are starting to go down. And yeah, it's just going to do it. Solar, he did too much damage in the early game. Time is not able to turtle as well as Time would like. We go to game 5. In the upper left, in the red. He's got 2 games to his name, but oh man, his opponent's been a tough nut to crack. It's Solar. In the upper right, in the blue. On a Terran map, on a mech map. Can he do it? It's Time. I'm going to be very interested. So this is a Terran map. There are not a lot of bases. The 3 bases or 4 bases you can get really easily. And it can be really good for mech. So I'm going to be very interested to see how this one works out. I can't expect I don't expect to see Solar try to drag this to the late game. This just feels very bad. But if he can go for some sort of pressure, maybe a Nidus play. It feels like Time's just playing too solid in the early game, though. I don't even know that a Nidus play would work. Even that game that he lost in the last game, I mean, that was some pretty significant execution errors that I think he's going to be able to look back and say, if he cleans up a couple things, that pressure from Solar should not have gotten nearly as much damage done. Okay. So it is a Reaper expand from Time once again. My bat senses are telling me this is again going to be a 3rd command center after the factory. That's just what Time has been doing like every game in this series. or at the very least 3CC in some way, shape, or form. And Stargazers is probably the best map to do it in the entire pool. You could do it off of a barracks, probably, because you have that pocket base that is so easy for the Terran to take. And there we go. Well, actually, yep, there we go. The interesting thing, actually, is oh, that was a sick grenade, actually. It gets the creep tumor. But he's taking this on the high ground versus taking it right here. You can do this by if you take the command center about right here, and then the SCV goes and mines alpha both mineral patches by the time that the orbital is done, and it's just the most it's the most efficient play. Somewhat surprised to see him doing that on the high ground. Maybe he's hoping Solar doesn't scout it, but got news for you. Solar, in fact, does scout it. Man, I saw the bracket tonight. It was only 19 players, I think. Less than that, maybe. EPT Korea starts at 10 p.m. instead of 11. I looked at this and was like, okay, you know, I'm gonna go to bed at a reasonable hour tonight. And then Solar and Time decided that they needed to play what is currently an hour-and-a-half series, and this very much has the makings of a 2-hour series. But as I say that, Solar is in fact going for the Nidus play we talked about at the start of this game. It does make a significant amount of sense. Stargazers is a decent map for going Nidus. Solar does not want to play late game against mech on this map, but the Marine has in fact found the Overlord, so he's going to be able to shoot that one on out, and this will force... Well, actually, yeah, the Vikings are going to knock this down. So Solar is A, supply blocked, B, does not have any vision on the other side of the map, and that means this Nidus is in fact going to struggle. We don't even have an Overseer on the way, so it seems like this is actually just going to be a Nidus at the front. Ling, you gotta be kidding me. This Ling that is meant to drop the Nidus, it gets scattered out here as well. So Solar, his Nidus is so late at this point. The Roaches will scat out what's happening as well. Liberators are on the way. Tech Lab on the way for this factory, where the reactor was canceled. And Time, well, he is on panic mode. The surprising thing, though, by the way, he is going bio. I expected to see mech regardless. Time, he understands what's happening now, at least in some way, shape, or form. He's going to see the Nidus drop, and now he absolutely knows what's happening here. Solar slams it down in his face. Liberator sieges up right on top of it, trying to get as much damage as possible. SCVs are going to get pulled because the Roach count right here is not all that inspiring. If they can knock that down before anything happens in earnest, the Queens pop out, though, and they're going to try to do what they can. Transfuses are nice, but Queens start to run out of energy. Only 2 transfuses, only one. High energy Queen goes down. SCVs repairing the Liberator here. The Queens are starting to fall, and Time, he's doing a damn fine job, but still, he's going to get pushed back here. There's a bunker on the high ground. SCV repair is still nice. Liberator moves backwards, and the Liberator, I think Liberator and the bunker, they're going to keep this alive. Time doesn't care about losing 15 SCVs. He's triple command center. He's building tanks. Liberators are going to be needed to get this out. And look at the Hellions. They're scouting around on the left side. They want to make sure that there's nothing here. The bunker will eventually fall. The tank's already out, or just about. It doesn't feel like Solar has what it takes to make this happen. He's starting to knock, so he's knocking supply depots down. That's fantastic, but it's not going to supply block tanks. And the tank now joins the fray. Yes, you can bile down tanks, but the Liberator here as well, a second tank on the way. Although, to be honest, I think I would prefer Cyclones. Second tank on the way, you're going to have third eventually, and again, Time's on 3 bases. So Solar is droning up behind this. Time does scan. He sees only 5 drones at the third base. You're decently committed here. Biles do go down on the Liberator, but it just forces them back, and the tank still stays alive. Time has Stim now, getting on top of the Queens, getting on top of every damn thing. Liberators are getting knocked down, and yes, that is a dead Viking, but it feels like this may just be a dead Solar. Certainly, it's a dead Nidus. Solar gets slapped. His Nidus, his Overlord went down. The Ling that was supposed to drop the Nidus in Time's face went down. The push had to drop the Nidus. Ideally, the Nidus is done as the Roaches arrive. Now Time has Stim. He's got combat shields on the way. Double eBay. He is on 3 orbital. Yes, it's not in position just yet, but it will be soon. Everything Time could want is already here. Solar's building more Roaches defensively. He's got a Spire on the way, but not super inspiring with his gas count. He's only got 30. He spent a lot of money on this Roach Ravager Nidus play. Although, again, I have to question Time's efficiency on taking this base. It's the one thing that's bugging me quite a bit. It's like, come on, Time. This is why one of the reasons why the map is Terran favored. But the bio, they're gonna find a way in the drops, gonna find a little bit of damage in the main base. 7 workers go down, starting to equalize. Damage from elsewhere is Liberator. Sieges up the mineral line as well. It's only 1 queen. And there's not a great angle for the queens to take, so it's a lot of denied mining time. So Liberator unsieges for the moment. Now Time's just got a big bit of pressure. Going forward into the middle of the map. 3 tanks, a bunch of Marines. They don't have 1-1, but they do have combat shields. And Time's up double army supply on a Roach player. He's hitting right... Oh, no. He's hitting right as the meters are about to pop. Solar types all the G's, and that is going to do it. Time takes down Solar 3-2. The man, his EVT is really good, but it's not enough. My God. Time looking incredible.